All right, well, on behalf of Eliza Bryant Village, I want to welcome you here. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Katie Boland. I am the Director of External Relations here at Eliza Bryant Village, and I welcome you to our Cleveland History Days event with the Broadway School of Music and the Arts, Finding Home. We're very excited to be a part of the Cleveland History Days event, given the rich history that Eliza Bryant Village has in the community for seniors and for African American seniors. Eliza Bryant Village, we're 122 years old, for those who are not familiar with us. 122, Ms. Boyd, yeah. 122, yeah. So we've been in the greater Cleveland community for all of those years, serving older adults and their caregivers. Our founder, Eliza Simmons Bryant, started this organization out of a group of female volunteers who were lucky enough to still have work with us as our auxiliary members, and they do great work spreading our message of our mission and helping us raise supports and money for the village. Today we offer independent senior housing. We offer an adult daycare and senior outreach program with transportation, home care. We have a skilled nursing facility and a great volunteer program that helps us connect with so many of you here today. So for those who don't know about us, we're excited to share with you a little bit more about our services and the mission of our visionary founder, Eliza Bryant, who continues to inspire us every day here at the Village. So I'm going to now introduce Marcia with the Cleveland History Days to shed a little bit more light about this great community event. So let's welcome Marcia.
Thank you, Katie, and thanks to all of you for being here. I'm just going to take a minute because I just wanted to join Katie and Emily, who's here, to say welcome to all of you, and thanks for being here. This is Day 9 of our 10-day Cleveland History Days. It's hard to believe that it's Day 9, but I think everyone received, although there were a few people that I believe did walk in a little later, so I do have some schedules of events, and even though we're on Day 9, some of those events will take place next year. We've been really excited with the attendance at our various events, and that's just because all of you, I know, you believe in Cleveland as we do. I'm one of 3 creators of the program, but really it's a program that is working because we had a wonderful committee of people, one of whom is Jim Rich back there, who's documenting. He's been to all the events so that he can document it for the future, and so that next year it can even be better. But let me just say thank you, and I look forward to the program just like you do. Take care and enjoy. Bye.
Good afternoon. My name is Emily Hogue. I'm the outreach coordinator at Broadway School of Music and the Arts. We're located in Slavic Village, East 55th and Broadway, about 10 minutes from here. We've been in existence for 36 years in a 100-year-old building, we came to do this program because for the past 3 or 4 years we've received a grant from the City of Cleveland Cable Television Network's Minority Arts Education Fund. And through that grant, we have been able to offer storytelling programs at senior centers. So our storyteller that you'll meet shortly has been going to University Settlement, Fatima Center. We have the director of Fatima Center with us today, Ms. Ray. We also started this week at St. Martin de Porres Family Center, and in August we're starting at some of the Ben Rose centers. So as I began to work on this project, it's given me a chance to think more about the stories that are told and the stories that aren't told, and to realize that often the African American stories are not told, or they're diminished, or they're told by someone else. So was very pleased when we were partnered with Eliza Bryant Village, and that we could be the people to bring the elders of the African American community here to hear your stories. We kind of had our role to bring everyone here, but then we're turning it over to our elders to hear what you have to say. We have some information about Broadway School out in the hall. We are known for our private instrument lessons for people of all ages, but we also have grown our outreach program in the community with the storytelling program, preschool programs, after-school programs. And so we're always interested in providing access to the arts for anyone who feels interested, maybe discover their inner artist. But we don't want to have any barriers to participating in the arts, financial, transportation, etc. So we feel like this is a really important part of our mission, and we were so happy to, when Miss Olarami Oliver was brought to our attention so many years ago. Olarami is part of the Cleveland African American Storytelling Group, President Emeritus. She was recently highlighted at their luncheon. The first time I met Olarami, I was just touched with her ability to nurture the stories within the people that she was working with. So we've turned this over to her so that she can bring not only her gifts, but the gifts of the seniors that are with us today.
A story, a story, a story, a story, a story, a story, let it come. A story, a story, a story, a story, a story, a story, let it go. As a storyteller, this is something that we often say, because a story is nothing if it's not shared. So, but we live in a time when we have unparalleled access to information and facts. And in this world and this time, we're also aware that with all this information and facts, it hasn't done much to help us be better people. It hasn't done much to help us respect and nurture and love each other. But in this world of time and in this place, we have a tool that can redeem us. And that tool is storytelling. Storytelling. Storytelling causes us to pause. A story causes us to listen. It's the story that makes us think. And it's through the story that we will get to understand each other, to see each other. When I share a story with you, you see me. When you share your stories with me, I see you, we see each other. So, as elders in the community, and I'm an elder, and I take that role seriously, because I feel that in this day and time, it's the elders who have to step up to help our young people. You know, and our young people help us to assume the role that we assume. So our stories carry with them, as an elder, our stories carry with them greater, and not greater, but a particular significance. We can see the long-term outcomes of many of the life's events. We can see the consequence of the moves we've made in life. So we have the hindsight that's 20/20. So we can look back and see I did this then, and now I'm able to be here now. So hindsight is 2020. So the theme of this season of storytelling with the Broadway School of Music and the Arts has been finding home. And I think that is of particular significance right now, when there's so much conversation about placemaking. You know, how do we find ourselves? Where do we find ourselves? As elders, we've seen the results of this continuous and variously defined quest for place. We've answered many of the questions, and we're in the midst of answering the questions. Where do I fit in the various passages of my life? Where am I physically? Where am I emotionally and mentally? How do I relate to my life as circumstances have changed, as I have changed? And how do I see it now? How do I see myself in the circumstances that I'm living now? By creating spaces where seniors can tell their stories in an environment of safety and respect and of mutuality and reciprocity, we can share openly and intimately at will. So it isn't I'm demanding a story of you or that you're demanding a story of me. We're sharing in a very, almost organic way. This is what we do in our program. We are able to be open and intimate in ways that maybe we haven't had that opportunity before. The storyteller and the listener are of equal importance in this situation. Our stories are precious gifts that we give to each other. And each story is valued. Every story is valued. Nobody's story is more important than anyone else's. And everybody has a story. And even people, we know this, that even people in the same family, so no matter if your circumstances seem similar, you have a different story. If you're in the family, children with their parents, each child has a different story. Each child has a different relationship with that parent. And so we recognize that everybody has a story, and everybody's is valuable. What we share provides insight about ourselves. What we share tells us about circumstances that are the same, but also about things that are different. Or maybe we've had an experience that was similar, but we handled it differently. So when you share that story, I can learn something maybe about how to handle a similar situation in the future. Or I can look back and say, well, I really was successful. I didn't see it as a success, but actually I was successful. I made it through. This is how I got here. When we share the moments that generate these feelings of joy and sadness, pride or regret, pleasure, pain, peace, or even excitement, these are all the basis of our commonality. These are things we've all experienced. And when we share these, we're able to help someone else remember a time when they felt those same feelings. We help each other remember our own. And a partnership is formed in which each of us becomes the gift and the giver. Technology the filming and the recording of the stories gives us an opportunity then to share those stories in a broader community. So what we share may be at Fatima or that we share at University Settlement House. Now we can show those films and people in other parts of the city, perhaps even further away than the city itself, can see, and they'll see the commonality too. It may encourage them to share their stories. And during each group experience, we also are practicing being storytellers. And we practice these concepts that make our understanding of structure and enhance our how we develop a story so that people will understand where we're coming from. So before we go any further, and this is Eliza Bryant, and she has such a profound and illustrious history in this community, and this is Cleveland History Days. I would be remiss if there wasn't some emphasis put on what is happening right here at Eliza Bryant. So we have a video that we're going to show.
Through the history of the Eliza Bryant home, it has been people who are at the heart of its success and growth and have adapted to change.
And we are not given the same pot of money that we have been in the past, although that the seniors are sicker. However, you have to be creative.
We will find our way through our ingenuity to continue to support our mission. Unfortunately, the need will always be there. So it's incumbent upon us to be the sharpest when it comes to providing that care. We have elected to stay in the community that we are in, where other entities have moved after the dollars, if you will, to the suburbs and to the private care side of the industry.
The care at Eliza Bryant has changed for the better. They are no longer here just to rest. They're here to live a full, dignified life. And we see much less depression than we saw before. You can see people gone out of pearls, gone out of long dresses. There you have your jogging suits, your hats turned backwards, your tennis shoes on, and they want a happy hour. I can remember the first time I saw a resident going home again, and it was like a party. We stood at the door, and we waved, and we were just happy to see them go, because that gives your care a better acknowledgement.
Eliza Bryant has become a multi-service facility and neighborhood center compassionately caring for the elderly, a place of choice for loved ones.
I have brought family members here, and I would bring other family members here. And if I needed to be, I would come for the care.
My first instruction on how to care for people that lasted me throughout my entire career. One of those ladies who was really strict, she was like a Nurse Ratched, and her shoulders were always straight, and she never slumped, and the uniform was pointed and starched every day, not a spot on it. I think she had about a 4th grade education, but her care for the people started me on my way. Recently, I had the opportunity to return that favor. She was a resident on our dementia unit. She no longer knew me, but I certainly knew her. And I had the opportunity to give her that dignified, compassionate care that she gave me. And to me, that was priceless.
What began as a story of a small group of concerned women helping those in need has expanded to a physical presence within the heart of the African American community in the Huff neighborhood.
We're recognized by foundations such as the Cleveland Foundation, other centers. We're hoping it won't be the best kept secret in Cleveland. And I think it's not anymore.
With the nursing skills, we have first-class service.
One of the greatest treasures of the Eliza Bryant Village are the people who work here. They are just marvelous. I can't say enough about them.
If I were to see Eliza Bryant today, I would say to her, we've exceeded your expectations. We are still serving the vulnerable population that you set out to at the beginning of your mission.
I would say to Ms. Simmons, because of your vision, the village is here. The village has multiplied over the years the people that are involved with Eliza Bryant, inspired by what the village has done over the years, inspired by your vision, inspired to want to help somebody as we pass along the way so that our living will not be in vain.
Hi, I'm Mayor Frank Jackson. You've probably seen media coverage of the growing opioid epidemic in northeastern Ohio. But what you might not know is how many of these tragedies begin with a seemingly innocent prescription for pain medication. That is why we're teaming with the Cuyahoga County Opiate Marketing Task Force to encourage you to know the risk. Go to the website on your screen to learn which pills are opiates and alternative ways of dealing with pain. What starts as a prescription can end with addiction, so know the risk.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Doris Woody Pearson Davis / Ellington. I've been here at Eliza Bryant for a little 2 months over 1 year, and I call this home. This has been something, being born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, by my grandmother, who had a stroke one Sunday morning. We were getting ready to go to church, and I heard this thump in the bathroom, and it was my grandmother that had fallen, and she never got back up from that stroke. Then, when I was in the 9th grade, everybody else had activities, but I had to go straight home because at that time, Uncle Jim, my granddaddy's brother, lived with us. So all of these connections led me to know that by the time they call it 55, but now I'm 60-something. I'm now this senior citizen that I've been always looking forward to being. So when I came here to Eliza Bryant a little over a year ago, I'd never heard about this place, but I was looking for a place to stay other than going back to Alabama and other than leaving to go out to California with the earthquakes. I thought maybe I can stay here in Cleveland, and this led me to Eliza Bryant, where people were saying, well, you're going to a nursing home? And I found out that people that lived here in Cleveland didn't know half as much as I had begun to know about Eliza Bryant. But now I have memories of 4 people that I've met in the little over a year that I've been here. They're no longer with us. But they had beautiful stories and encouragement to let me know that I was in the right place. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful for Eliza Bryant for what I see here when I bring people over to meet me. And I give them an extended tour from bringing them, I live in the lodge, and to bring them to the manor and to the outdoors living availability and here in the nursing home. And they all are so surprised to see this village that's been created and kept going here in Cleveland, Ohio, known as Eliza Bryant Village. And we welcome you and thank you for being here today.
Now, Miss Dot gave us a little bit of her history and what led her to find a home here at Eliza Bryant. But she has some more to share with us. People around here do know her as Dot. And like she said, she's been here a little over a year. And she's also a very talented actress and producer, director, hailing from Birmingham, but who also has worked and created in Los Angeles, California, and right here in Cleveland as well. She describes herself as a connector. And people in here who know her know that that's exactly who she is. I'm so happy to have made the connection with her. And it was because of her energy, you know, that we were able to do this portion of the program together, and I'm really, really appreciative of her. So she's going to share some more of her talents. And her performance will be preceded by a song from one of the participants here at Eliza Bryant. Her name is Miss Axa Boyd. Axa Boyd. And she'll share with us a song followed by Miss Dot, and then followed by another vocal rendering. But this lady who is going to perform at the end wrote her music, wrote her own song. So there's a lot of talent in this room. There's a lot of talent in this room. So I give you Miss Axa Boyd.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We as blacks have come a long way. Eliza Bryant has proved it. Because back in slavery, he was not given credit for anything. And this is why I'm singing this song. I've been duped and I've been scorned. 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 I've been
sure as you're born. Hello? Hello? No, I want to, please let me speak to Mr. Schultz. Well, yeah, this is Miss Brown from down the street, and yeah, I'll wait. Now, Mr. Schultz, my boy said he come by there and said you got a sign in your window say you're hiring a store clerk. Boy said that you told him you couldn't hire him for a store clerk, but maybe you will give him a job as a stock boy. Now, Mr. Schultz, you know that boy's been off to college and he got more education than you and I is put together. So now, sir, if you can't talk to my boy about that job as a clerk, then, sir, I got something I got to say to you. And it's goodbye to you and to your old store down there selling that stale meat. Hello, May. May, I just called that Mr. Schultz, and good did I tell him something. Tell me he wasn't going to hire that boy and give that boy that job there as a clerk. And May, you know how long we've been shopping there with him. Lord have mercy, May. What is you doing? Because, May, I got to thinking about this morning when, remember it was winter time and we was going to school and Mom made you that coat out of that flour sack. May, what year she got mine from the white folks she was working with? Well, May, thank God for good white folks, but that ain't what I'm calling you about, girl. I needs to tell you that, okay, when you took that coat off and all that flour just went all over the room, girl, we just laughed so. Lord have mercy. But is you going to go over there with me come Sunday and we going over to that place called Liza Bryant? See, we going to visit some people. They talking about how good it is there, May. But then, May, we took care of Mama. Because Mama said, you don't put your people away. And we didn't. But now, May, we thank God so much for a place like that Liza Bryant. I mean, we hear nothing but good talk about it. And the activities and the facility there and them good folks that work there I hear about. May, we going over there and we going to check that place out. Now, I got to go now, May, but make sure you save me some of that sweet potato pie. Okay, bye.
This is a song I wrote in 1972. I studied Greek and had never been arrested before. I was locked up in a jail, and I wrote this song while I was in jail. Jesus is my name. Look at me, can't you see? I am only a woman, but Jesus is my name. I bore him from my womb. I still feel the pain. I fed him from my breast. I still feel the pain. Jesus is my name. Look at me, can't you see?
my name. We hung him from a tree. I still feel the pain in my hands and in my feet. We pierced him in his side and crowned his head with thorns. I still feel the pain. Jesus is my name. Jesus is my name. Yes.
And that was Miss Peggy, and she's a resident here
In the Garden Estates.
in the Garden Estates, but in this community. Oh wow, that's right. Yeah, she used to be an employee here at Eliza Bryant for how many years?
Licensed practical nurse, so I was a charge nurse for 8 years, and then I worked 2 years part-time weekends.
Charge nurse for 8 years and 2 years part-time. So this is a community, you see how this works.
Yes.
She served this community, is a resident of the community, and now someone who comes in and really is I don't want to say just a resident or a participant, but still serving. Still serving. So, I think I'd be remiss because I have several storytellers here also, and people who are part of the program who are storytellers, if I didn't share a story. And so, on the island of Barbados, there was a woman, an old woman, who spent her days sitting by the side of at the ocean side, reminiscing about how it was when she was a young woman. She remembered that as a young woman, she could go out into the ocean and catch fish with her bare hands. She remembered that as a young woman, she could climb the mango tree and pick luscious mangoes and throw them down to her son and her grandson. She remembered that as a young woman, she kept a beautiful kitchen garden. And there she grew all the fresh vegetables and things, to supplement her diet as a young woman. But now she was an old woman. And as an old woman, she could no longer keep that kitchen garden. She could no longer go out and catch fish with her bare hands. And she could no longer climb that mango tree. And her son and her grandson, they rarely came to visit. And her meals, mainly watercress. They grew wild by the side of the ocean. And she would pick the watercress, make watercress soup, watercress stew, watercress, watercress. But she didn't complain. She didn't complain, but this is how her life was. And one day, as she was sitting at the ocean side reminiscing, she heard something over in the bushes, and she realized it was a little bluebird that his wing was damaged. And she went over to the bluebird and she picked it up. And she said, now I'm going to take you home and I'm going to help heal that broken wing. And when you're ready, I'll let you go because I know that you have a family somewhere waiting for you to return. So she took him home. And she rubbed healing oils on that broken wing. She even let him sleep on her pillow. She fed him from her watercress soup. and her watercress stew. And she sang to the bird. And she sang a song that she used to sing with her own son as they sat and watched the nature and in their where they live. And it was called, well, it went like this. And in fact, I need you to sing with me. So I'm going to sing a line, and then I want you to repeat the line that I sing. There stands a bluebird, tra-la-la-la.
There stands a bluebird, tra-la-la-la.
Give me sugar, coffee, and tea.
Give me sugar, coffee, and tea.
Now make a motion, tra-la-la-la.
Now make a motion, tra-la-la-la.
Give me sugar, coffee, and tea.
Give me sugar, coffee, and tea.
Now every day she sang to the bird, rubbed healing oils on his wing, and sure enough, in due time, he flew up on her shoulder, and she knew then that it was time to set him free. And so she took him back down to the water's edge and lifted him up, and he flew away, and she hollered to him. She said, please, don't forget me. Come back and visit sometime. Days went by, and she lived her life as she had in the past. And then one day, a bluebird flew across the horizon. She didn't know that it was her bluebird. But she noticed that the bird dropped something right at her feet. And when she looked down, she saw that it was a pumpkin seed. And she took that pumpkin seed and planted it in where her kitchen garden had been. And sure enough, within a few days, a beautiful vine formed. And within a few more days, a pumpkin started to form. And within a few more days, that pumpkin was big and plump. And she carefully cut it away from the vine, took it into the house, and with her machete cut it open. And what do you think was inside that pumpkin? Beautiful, prepared meals, rice and beans and stew and chicken and all kinds of plantain, all the things that she had eaten as a young person and things that she had grown when she was able to. Wonderful food. And she ate to her heart's content. But being a kind and gracious and loving woman, she decided she would take the food down to her neighbor because she couldn't eat it all. This neighbor was the kind of person who did things like she would say to the old woman, my son came to visit me today. Did your son visit you? Oh no, too bad. You know, I played with my grandkids today. Or did you play with your grandkids? Oh no, too bad. That's the kind of woman she was. Now the old woman explained to her how she got that pumpkin. And so this same neighbor said, I don't want her leftovers. I'm going to get my own pumpkin. And so she went down to the ocean side, and there she waited, and finally she did hear something in the bush. When she looked over, she saw it was a little bluebird pecking away, looking for worms probably. And she took a stick and whack, hit the bird, broke its wing. She picked the bird up, took him home, threw him in the corner in her house, and said, you better get well soon, you know, because I expect you to bring me a pumpkin seed like you did for that old lady down the street. Well, over time, the bird did begin to heal through no care of the woman's. And one day he showed that he was ready to leave, and she took him back down to the river, lifted him up, and basically threw him into the air and told him, you better come back soon. Well, some days went by, and then one day a bird flew over. It was a bluebird. He dropped something at her feet. It was a pumpkin seed. She took it to her home, planted it, and sure enough, within a few days, a beautiful vine started to grow. And within a few more days, a pumpkin formed. And with a few more days after that, a beautiful, plump pumpkin had developed.
In fact, it was bigger than the one that the elderly lady had. She took it in the house and with her machete cracked it open. What do you think was inside that pumpkin? Mosquitoes, snakes, spiders, all manner of vermin. And they crawled all over the woman. She ran down to the ocean trying to escape all of these things. And she jumped in and started to swim, and I believe she's still swimming to this day, trying to find a place where they don't have mosquitoes and snakes. But in the meantime, the old woman, now every day, she has a delicious meal, and she still goes back down to the ocean and still reminisces about how it was when she was young. But she also has a visit from time to time with a little bluebird who comes and sits on her shoulder, and she sings with him. There stands a bluebird, tra-la-la-la.
There stands a bluebird, tra-la-la-la.
Give me sugar, coffee, and tea.
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 Yeah, that's the story of the bluebird. Now, we have a special guest today. I wouldn't call him a guest because he's a member of this community and knows more than I do how beneficial and how the assets of this community. And so I want to give the mic to our brother Bashir.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. Can you stand up here with me? Can you stay here? Thank you so much. That story was so beautiful. First and foremost, we thank God for another day of life, and we thank the Creator for giving us an opportunity to be here. And honestly, as she was telling the story, I felt like that bird. I felt like that bird. And there was many elders who were just like you. Not the mosquito lady.
No.
But the other one who helped us who had broken wings in this community. Many young people who grew up in this community like me, who grew up in what we would consider extreme poverty, who were told that we would never make it out of here, who were told that you being from this community means that you'll always be here and you can never do more than what you have. There was people like that. But there was elders like you who were like that elder who spoke life into that bird, who healed the wings of that bird, who even sung to that bird from time to time and spoke life and encouraged the bird not just to heal and fly away, but more importantly, come back and plant seeds for a better community. And as I sat here, I thought that I was just coming in and I have to go to another event right next. Everybody having an event today, goodness gracious. But this moment right here, this is exactly what I needed personally. I just left the funeral of the baby girl, Sanaya, 9 years old. You heard this story. And you know, this type of work that we do, and you know better than me. Auntie, you said I know better. No, you know better. You know better than me. This work can be very draining. You know, you saw the pictures of President Obama before and after the first. I got some hairs. I got one hair called Huff, another gray hair called Wade Park, another one called Payne Avenue. But nothing is more important than coming back here and serving the community that sung to me and that healed me. My mom and grandmother, cancer has had a huge impact on my family. My grandmother passed away from cancer, my auntie, and my mother. But one thing they will always do is they always would make sure that we would come to these places and spend time with our elders. I love you so much. And if it wasn't for you, there would be no me. And I don't want you to ever let anyone tell you that Bashir Jones don't respect his elders. Without you, I would be doomed, I would have nothing, and I would have no purpose in life. But being here with you and seeing you and spending time with you, every day I'm fighting on behalf of this community. So I want to say to you, please continue to sing and heal these birds with broken wings. Continue to heal us, because without you, we are doomed. We are dealing with trauma. I just came back from India a week ago. I was in India last week, and I was there for a week, and the poverty there you couldn't even imagine. I never was so happy to be American until I'm so happy to be American. I couldn't wait to get back. I would love Cleveland. I'm not like LeBron. I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying. I'm joking. I hope you don't go nowhere. I'm messing with you. But my point is that you all have given me so much. Many of you can remember when I used to have a radio show. You remember I used to do radio, right? You remember that. And I had a show called Bashir Jones and Company on 1490 AM. Some of you were my guests on the show. But you are the reason why this community is doing amazing things and the reason why it will continue to grow. So this is what I need from you, and then I will leave you. We need your prayers. You are a praying people. You have always been a praying people. And for those who thought that these different trials and tribulations that we had in America would stop us, it was your prayers that continued to push us forward. It was our ancestors who prayed for us even before they met us. Somebody died for us. Somebody cried for us. They bled for us. They never even met us, but yet and still we benefit from the waves of their prayers that benefit us here today. And if we are not doing things that will impact our great-great-great-great-grandchildren, then what type of life are we living? It's a beautiful quote that says, "The future prays and hopes that the past has a strong enough vision to see beyond themselves." We got some veterans in here. We got people who fought on behalf of this country, not just for yourself, but for people like me, who would have never had the opportunity to fly if you didn't believe in us. I thank you for singing to us. I thank you, even though I didn't have a belt and my pants were sagging, and you popped me in my head and said, "Go off to Morehouse College, but you better come back." Right? Right, Auntie Brenda? I see you back there, yeah? You spoke life into me and people like me. I thank you. I love you. I'm a huge supporter of Eliza Bryant. We're going to continue to support Eliza Bryant and give you more than just events. Events are good, but how can we make sure that you are continuing to live your golden years in the best of ways? When you go to Solon and Beechwood, they treat their grandparents with respect and honor. And we're not going to allow anyone to do anything different to our grandparents, to our aunties and uncles right here and across this city. I love you. I thank you. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, my elders. I love you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I am with the Broadway School of Music and the Arts, and we have a few storytellers here who have volunteered to share issues around finding home. Not issues, I don't want to say issues, but because that kind of has a negative connotation, but just their stories about finding home. And so I'm going to ask Sister Renee, Sister Jean, to come forward. I was trying to, Renee, I'm sorry.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jean Ezel. And I know if you remember hearing this sentence sometime, come on in, make yourself at home. I remember I thought back when I heard what the topic was today about going home or making a home away from home. I opened a beauty salon years ago, and I had been open maybe about a couple of weeks, and I noticed this little girl. Every day when I would come to the shop, she would be sitting outside on the step. And she sat out there for maybe 3 or 4 days, and she always peeped in through the screen and watched. So one day she did say, "May I come in?" I said, "Ask your mom if it would be all right." And she came in. I said, "You can sit over in the corner where the TV is. Don't bother anything or bother anybody." And she didn't. But she watched me. Every minute I moved, she watched. When I went to shampoo, she would peep around the side, and she watched me shampoo. She watched me do everything. So 2 or 3 days later, I looked, and she brought another friend. Her girlfriend was 10 years old. So they came in, and they bought 2 dolls. And I thought to myself, oh boy, now I have 2 more beauticians on my hands. So she asked me if she could shampoo her doll's hair. And the doll was so pitiful. They were about to fall apart. I said, "Please don't put any water on them." And so I told her she could pretend to wash the hair if she liked. And they did that. And so it kept on until I gave both of them an address book. So then they pretended that they were taking their customers' names down, and they would do their hair, and they would welcome them in. So evidently they told another little friend, after they had welcomed themselves into my shop, and it had become a home for them, they welcomed in another little boy. So he came in, and he started crying as soon as he came through the door. And I asked him what was wrong with him, so I took him in the restroom, and he told me every Saturday his father abused his mother, and they always fought. And he was wondering if he could come in and stay until after the fight was over. So I let him come in. He began to sweep the floor, to empty the trash baskets, and I gave him 50 cents. One day I was in a supermarket, and I heard this man behind me said, "Miss Jean?" And I looked around. He said, "You remember me?" I said, "No, I don't." He said, "You remember when I used to come to your shop?" He said, "You gave me my first water pistol, and you also used to let me stay on weekends when my dad was so mean to my mom." And I looked at him, and he introduced me to his wife and his daughter. And so then I had another incident where a bag lady came to the door every day. And I thought to myself, how can I let her in? I can't let her in. So she kept coming and she kept coming. And then it occurred to me, Jean, this could be you. How do I know? One day it could be me. So one winter day, it was so cold, and she knocked on the door. And I went to the door, and I told her to come in. She almost knew what people would be thinking. So she sat over in the corner where the TV was. She asked for some water. I gave her water, and she went to sleep. She slept about an hour. Each time she would come in, she would just sleep. So when she got ready to go, I always gave her a bag of potato chips. And my customers asked me, why? Why would you let a bag lady in? I told them, I don't know. One day, maybe I will know. And since then, I do know. Because I was told a couple of years ago, they found her laying in an alley dead from the cold weather. And I thought to myself, thank you, Lord, that I was nice enough to her. And I was so glad that they had all found a home away from home. Thank you.
So that was Jean Ezel, and she is with University Settlement House. And that's one of the sites that we go to with the Broadway School Music Storytelling Program. Now I have Miss Miss Bertha Stiggers from Fatima.
Thank you. I'm Bertha Stiggers, and I attend Phantom. And Phantom is on Lexington Avenue, if some of you don't know where it is. And but I thank God for us being here today. That's one thing we give God the praise and the honor for us being here today. I've been in this neighborhood ever since 1965. I'm part of Huff. I listen to the councilman saying part of Huff, part of Wade Park. And I have raised, not raising, I have raised 10 of my 10 children. All of them are grown. Only one left in the neighborhood. All the rest of them moved, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But the neighborhood is said finding home. Home is where the heart is. And thank God when you have a home, sometimes we go through life with different places and making moves from different places. But you never know where you're going to be or what it is. Whatever God gives you to do, you make the best of it. He's going to give you the best for you to have. I'm still in the neighborhood. My husband passed away in 2008. I can take care of myself. I can drive. I can do things. But you know, it's a blessing. I count it all a blessing when God does something for us. And we all should appreciate it. And I was in the neighborhood when this was even before it was built. Even before it was built. But thank God. And my mom used to say all the time, you never know, you always say what I ain't going to do, but you never know what you're going to do. You never where you know who's going to have to take care of you or what. So I can always say, I remember I came here to this nursing home when they first was doing it, and they said, I had put an application for a job. I was going to put an application for a job. And I couldn't have got the job. I didn't come back up here to even sit about it because someone else had got me a job at Indian Hills. I worked there for 20 years. And but this was one of the places I could have got a job, and I didn't know it. And but God has a way, and He always looks out for you. I go to the center, I'm retired and everything. Now I just retired about 4 years ago. So I worked all the way up. 77 years old. I'll be 78 next month. But I thank God because He has been good to me. And I see how good He is. And, you know, we think because we're in a nursing home or we're in some place that God's not doing great things for us. Yes, He is too. And I tell my kid all the time, I say, it might be you one day. It might be me. Don't get upset about not putting me in. You let me go to nursing home. I said, if that's where you want me to have to go, let me go to the nursing home. I said, because those people are real nice. I'm going to see you. I said, they're nice. And you're going to find everywhere you go, God's going to make a way for you to be able to find someone that loves you and cares for you, regardless of where you is. I thank God for Eliza Bryant for here. And like I said, all my children, the councilman and my son, they know each other. Yeah, because we was all raised up right in the neighborhood. They're sitting over here. I hadn't seen in some while. She knows all my children. She knows all my children. But I thank God for her. And this whole neighborhood is not a stranger to me. People in the neighborhood are not strange. And you know, when you stay in a neighborhood so long, you come up to people. Sometimes you I come to some of the young ones. I don't know who they are sometimes. They're raised up with the children. They got grown and everything. I don't even know who they are. You know, but they make themselves known. But I just thank God for what He has already did for us. And I love this neighborhood. I'm planning on just staying where I am. I'm happy where I am. I'm going to stay where I am. I stay in an 8-room house, and I'm going to stay where I am. God has taken care of me for these 10 years all by myself. I'm not going any place. I'm not going any place. But I thank you all for us all being here today. Thank God for Miss Ray. I pass her sometimes. She don't hardly even know who we are, and I go to the center when she's over. But sometimes I'm just finding out who she is. Isn't that something? You know, and I've been going there about 3 years. But I thank God. God has a way of putting us together. Don't worry about it. And we all need each other. You know, we all need each other. Even if we're at home taking care of ourselves, we still need each other. You know, being in the home by yourself, taking care of yourself, but God will make a way for you to be taken care of. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and it speaks to the communities that finding home is also about finding community. And the fact that people come, you know, as we get older, we don't always remember every individual face, but those children who grow up and that we have provided some kind of a soft place for, you know, like the beauty parlor, where that was a soft place for a number of children. You know, but her interactions, Miss Bertha's interactions with her neighbors, she provided a soft place for them. And here we are at Eliza Bryant, and we've found a soft place. So I just want to thank everyone for that. I don't know if there's some closing remarks that someone is wanting to make, but I will make them. I will make them. On behalf of the Eliza Bryant Village and the Broadway School of Music and the Arts, on the behalf of the participants at the University Settlement House and Fatima Family Center, and all the people who have come out to the program today, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for forming this beautiful community. I want to thank you for supporting this wonderful community. And I say, have a wonderful rest of your hot day in this cool place. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm good now. I'm glad that I came on here.
Can you speak up or hold the mic closer to you?
Okay. I'm glad to be here today. I was sitting here and I listened to everyone, and I enjoy everything I've heard. I live in the lodge, I think it's
in the lodge.
I lived there for 4 years, and then the manor, I've been there for 4 years. I was there for 4 years. And I love being here because I love it for the peace and quiet. But I'm glad to have come here today. I wish my voice was in good enough shape so that I could sing a song too. But if you all will allow me, I can attempt, and if I don't make it, then you will understand. Is that all right? I'm a former member of a group called the Golden Harmonettes. I don't know if I don't know if did you know Marva Bright? Did you know Marva before she passed away? I was one of her lead singers for I've been out for 42 years. Yeah. So let's see how it goes. Because then too, this air don't help your vocal cords either. Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadow come? Oh, why should my heart feel lonely and longing for heaven and home when Jesus is my portion, my constant friend is He. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I